Hey guys, what is going on? It is Rick and I am here with June review videos. So it's been quite a while since I've recorded, been very busy. So wanted to try to, hammer down some videos, get some stuff recorded. I realized I still have 2 videos left to record of June reviews, tons of pickup videos. So today is Friday, July 24th. So I'm going to record a couple videos today and I'm going to try to record more on Sunday. Kind of play catch up, and as you guys have seen, videos have still been coming out pretty regularly, still 2 to 3 times a week. So we're going to dive right in. We have a stack of stuff to talk about. It looks like we only have 7 movies to talk about, so this will be a relatively fast video. And the first film was sent to me by my buddy J2H, rocking his shirt today, and he said, if I send you a film, will you promise me you'll watch it? So I said yes, put it in the hat, because we've been pulling our movies out of a hat still that we watch, and this was in the hat till the very end. Well, there were 2 other movies left that we'll talk about in an upcoming video at this point, but this was towards the very end of the hat, before we replenished it. It was sealed when I got it, and it is, as you can see, there's a note. It says, "This film, not this film, enjoy it." You guys can see there, the title of the film is Rub and Tug. So, the movie is a Canadian production. To say this movie is hot trash would honestly be an understatement. It really had shades of like old school late night, like Skinamax, if you will. There was poor acting, just a horrible storyline in the film. And then the funniest thing is, based on, the photos on the back of the movie, the title of the film, you're expecting like a lot of at least nudity maybe, to like be like, oh, at least there's attractive women naked. No. There is 1 nude scene in this entire movie, and it is not from one of the actresses who, I don't know if they've gone on to do other pieces of film, if you want to call this film. The movie just felt very weird. It was a very weird watch, waiting for something to happen. The story was very convoluted, and this movie is definitely the creme de la creme of hot trash right here. And apparently there's something called the Canadian Comedy Awards, and this movie was nominated for a bunch of awards the year it came out, from the Canadian Comedy Awards. So if I were Canada, I would have canceled the awards that year, because I assume this is the only film that came out that this got nominated for something. So it is awful. I don't recommend you watch it. Don't waste the 90 minutes of your life. Definitely not worth it. But what I'm going to do, and hopefully Martinez Joe will have gotten the package by the time this video drops or close to it, is I'm sending Joe a package, and this goodie is going to be in there for him and Marie to check out. So it started with Jacob, it got passed on to me, and it's getting passed on to Mr. Martinez and Marie. Enjoy, guys. I want you to check it out. Can't wait to hear your thoughts. I'll leave Jacob's note on there too, so you're not confused and watch Kung Fu-y. So next up, we were just looking for something kind of like fun in the background, something we had seen before, and we decided to pop this on. It had been a very long time since either one of us have watched it, and it was on TV, and that's what made me want to put the real version on, and that is the 40-Year-Old Virgin. The star power in this film, this movie was made in 2005, so 15 years ago. The star power in this movie is pretty insane. Steve Carell, I mean, he was on The Office at the time, but he had just kind of started out in The Office. Seth Rogen, Paul Rudd, Jonah Hill, Mindy Kaling, Kevin Hart, Elizabeth Banks, Leslie Mann, Catherine Keener, Jane Lynch, Kat Dennings are all in this film. And I didn't name everybody, but that's like a lot of the people who appear in the film. So the cast is pretty insane, especially 15 years later. A lot of those people are some of the bigger names in comedy. They've gone on to be megastars, writers, very popular just figures in the entertainment world. And this is Judd Apatow's first directorial film, and the movie is really funny. It has heart, it has humor, just a really great film, and it holds up, 15 years later. Definitely one that I revisit and don't get bored about. It's funny. It's just a fun movie. It's a well done, fun movie. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. By the way, I forgot to mention, if you guys didn't figure out, Rub and Tug got a 0.5 star, and that's only because I have to assign a grade to everything I watch. So it got 0.5 star out of 5. On the other hand, 40-Year-Old Virgin, 4.5 out of 5. This was a rewatch. And then we decided to rewatch another movie, which I hadn't seen since theaters. I think Bridget had watched once since it had come out on Blu-ray. And that is 8th Grade, which was written and directed by Bo Burnham and stars Elsie Fisher, who plays Kayla, the lead character. The realness that's displayed in this film, the awkwardness of 8th grade, being a 14-year-old, you're at that weird stage in your life where people are starting to date, and there's body image issues, and just middle school is a weird time in somebody's life. And the fact that Bo Burnham wrote and directed this film, and the lead was a female, so he was able to grasp that perspective with Elsie Fisher, who had just graduated 8th grade when she shot this film. And it was shot with real 8th graders in the school they filmed it at. So there's also a kid in here, Jake Ryan, who plays not the guy from 16 Candles, but he plays the boy who ends up being her friend in the film. Spoiler alert. He's very funny in the movie. He was really good. A great casting job there. And the movie just feels real. It, as people say, it has a very high cringe level, but that's what being 13 and 14 years old was all about. There's a lot of cringe in your life at 13 and 14 years old. So the movie just is really good. There's humor. There's some heavy stuff in it as well. I give it a 4 out of 5. Definitely recommend this film. It is from A24. I don't know if you can see it there. It's an A24 film, and this one is definitely a win for me in the A24 universe, if you will. Next up, we watched a documentary, and I actually reversed the artwork because I love this artwork, from Draft House Films. And this is the reversed artwork. It actually goes sideways there. It is Raiders, the story of the greatest fan film ever made. This was a very fun watch. It was basically a movie about three friends who spent 8 years of their lives, basically every summer from the ages of I want to say it was 10 to 18 or 11 to 19. They spent every summer doing a shot-for-shot remake of Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is a documentary about the making of that film and all the footage they had. And then they wanted to get together and basically do a Kickstarter kind of thing to get enough money to film the big plane scene in the film, which they were never able to do. They basically showed the movie. It became like a very cult following kind of movie, and there was just the plane scene wasn't in there. So they got together. Does it say? To 3 11-year-old boys. So they basically get together 25 years later to film that last scene. So it has them from the ages of 11 basically up to 35 or 36, maybe even in their 40s. 35. Yeah, they were actually probably in their late 40s when they came back together to film that scene, and just all the struggles that they faced trying to get the scene filmed. Lots of weather issues and some other issues with jobs and people having, kids in real life. But the story is entertaining. It was a very fun documentary to watch. I would love to watch the fan film at some point, which I was kind of a bit bummed it wasn't a bonus feature on here. But I would definitely recommend this, especially if you're a fan of Raiders of the Lost Ark. 3.5 out of 5 for me. Like I said, I got this from Hamilton Books. I don't know if it's still available on there, The reverse artwork is more of a, a standard Raiders poster. But like I said, I like this artwork. I think it's kind of fun. And yeah, it was definitely a fun watch. There's lots of bonus features. It's a Blu-ray DVD combo. I got a lot of feedback when I watched the movie. A lot of people said they were fans. So yeah, it was a fun watch. It was a fun time for sure. So 3.5 out of 5 on that. And then next up, checked out The King of Staten Island, rented it on Vudu. And this was one of my most anticipated films of 2020 before everything got crazy. So I was glad that this movie actually came out in some form and I was able to see it. Pete Davidson, I'll start off by saying he seems to be a very divisive individual. A lot of people just don't like him. They don't like his look. They don't like just him for some reason. So I've been a fan of what I've seen of him in films, stuff like The Dirt, he was very good in. And another movie that came out this year on Hulu called Big Time Adolescence, I thought he was really good in. I also know a lot of like Pete Davidson's backstory, his like real life. His dad passed away in 9/11. He was a firefighter. He suffers from Crohn's. He went through the Ariana Grande relationship and what that did to him. He lives in his mom's basement of her house. He has a sister that lives there as well. So knowing all that, I went into a movie with pretty high hopes. It was a Judd Apatow movie. The trailer looked funny. And the biggest issue with the film is the runtime. So the movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes. And like a lot of the recent Judd Apatow films, stuff like This Is 40 and Funny People, the runtime overstays its welcome probably by like 20 or 30 minutes. But also with that being said, the best parts of the movie are the last hour of it and the first 20 minutes. So there needs to be like a major editing in the middle of the film. Easily cut out 30 to 40 minutes of this film, I believe. Probably could have been an hour and 50 minutes and been a much more enjoyable experience. But things, in my opinion, really hit the peak when Pete Davidson's character starts to interact with the firefighters. And I'm not going to go into spoilers, but it's coming out on physical in August, so I definitely recommend checking it out. I will get it on Blu-ray when it comes out to add to the collection. Maybe not day one, but I will add it to the collection. And there's some funny moments throughout, but I will say if you're not a fan of Pete Davidson, you're not going to like the movie, because the movie is about Pete Davidson. It stars Pete Davidson. It also has performances from Steve Buscemi, Marissa Tomei, other people, but Pete Davidson is the lead. He's in the whole movie. He's in a lot of the movie. So if you're not a fan of his, I would avoid it. And I personally liked Big Time Adolescence a little bit more than this, but I still enjoyed this. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Next up, we checked out a movie with RJ that none of us had seen before, and that is 9, which is produced by Tim Burton and a guy whose name I would butcher, but I'll show you guys there. I would butcher that name. Timur Bekmambetov. Bekmambetov. Anyway, the movie is definitely very dark. It is not necessarily a kid's film, but I shouldn't say that. It's not for very young kids. I think it's all right for RJ's 9 years old, so I think it's okay for his age. But I wouldn't show this to like my 4 or 5 year old for sure. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic world, basically with a ragdoll named Nine and his group of peers, and quest to save the world. The movie is only 80 minutes long, so it never really meanders. It's pretty fast-paced. There's good voice performances throughout, and it tells us the story very well. Elijah Wood, John C. Reilly, Jennifer Connelly, Martin Landau, Christopher Plummer are some of the voice actors in the film. I personally lost interest in parts of it, but RJ and Bridget really seemed to enjoy it. So I personally gave it a 2.5 out of 5, but they both liked it. RJ wanted me to keep it because if it was up to me, I probably would have traded it in, but he said he'd like to keep it. So 9 makes the shelf, although if it were up to me, it would not make the shelf. And then that brings us up to Father's Day, and we had 2 movies left in the hat, and this is what we watched on Father's Day evening, and it is Rounders. Not much can be said about this movie that I haven't said already in the past. This is my favorite film of all time. I love the movie. I think it is funny. I think it hits great dramatic notes. Fantastic performances all around. Matt Damon, Edward Norton, John Malkovich, Famke Janssen is in it. I am blanking. John Turturro is great in the movie as well. Matt Damon's character, Mike McDermott, is in law school. I'll kind of give a brief synopsis. He's paid for law school by basically playing underground poker and going to a casino and playing cards. But it shows his character's ups and downs. He loses a bunch of money he had saved, which was money for his next semester of law school. He's really good friends with Worm, played by Edward Norton, who's getting out of jail and just keeps making bad decisions and puts Mike's character, Matt Damon, in just horrible situations throughout. But I was huge into poker for a big part of my life. I played cards weekly. I was a huge fan of poker and watching it and studying the game. This film does such a good job portraying Texas Hold'em poker, in my opinion. Pretty realistic. It's not like royal flushes versus, straight flushes. It is a pretty accurate portrayal of the poker world. And Edward Norton plays an excellent slimeball friend in this film. But, oh man, the movie just holds up so well. And I just highly recommend it. If you have not seen Rounders, do yourselves a favor. Check out Rounders. I cannot recommend it highly enough. And that is it for this video, guys. That is everything I watched the 3rd week of June. Like I said, stay tuned. More videos are coming. I'm going to record a few more today, but more will be recorded. Plenty of stuff dropping on the channel. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you do not already. Excuse me. Hit the bell notification so you guys know when new videos drop on the channel. Also, leave comments down below, guys. I always try to interact with everyone who leaves comments as much as possible. So please do that. Also, check out the description box down below where you can find links to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, my eBay page. A lot of you guys have been reaching out to me, finding stuff off my eBay page and doing deals off of there, either via email or Instagram. I've been selling a lot of stuff on Instagram. I've been buying tons of movies, lots of stuff to flip, but also a lot of stuff for the collection. So to keep that going, that helps me out. Also, find links to my letterbox where I rate and review all the movies I watch. You can find links to Cinema Sickness store where you can buy a Down to Movie t-shirt. That was mumble mouth there. And it's been a while since I've recorded, so I'm out of practice. Amazon wishlist, Blu-ray.com profile, all that can be found down below. Email address, P.O. box, all of it can be found down below. And that's it, guys. So thank you for watching. As always, until next time, who's down to movie?